Hi, hello, welcome. My name is V, also known as Nirami, and I hope you're all doing great and wonderful. And yeah, so I guess as you can guess from the title, today we'll be talking about something rather spooky. It's something that I kind of want to talk about like quite a few times. Because I don't know about you all if you believe in paranormal type of stuff, like ghosts and spirits. However, I do. I believe there's energy everywhere, and I don't know. I'm just a spiritual person, okay? And especially seeing how like I experienced a few things through my childhood as well kind of makes more sense now, honestly, because back then I wasn't quite sure if I should believe those things or not. I guess I kind of didn't want to believe them, it's so that I don't go insane. But here we are. A small disclaimer that there will be mentions of self-exit, so if you feel uncomfortable with that, don't force yourself to watch this video, and feel free to watch my other videos. Take care. So, I've been living alone by myself for the past 5 years, okay? But there was a time, where I thought I will never be able to live by myself. I thought that's gonna be the last thing I can do because I would go insane living by myself. Why? Because I thought that every single apartment and house I'll enter is gonna be haunted, and I just felt like I cannot be alone in spaces because I just feel too scared. And I'll also explain to you why why I even started to feel like that. It happened somewhere like, let's say maybe 12, 13 years ago. Okay, I'm not gonna do the math now, but it happened and it started when we moved to Germany, when I was 10 years old. And obviously for the first time, for the first few months, maybe even a year, we were living with our relatives, right? We did not have our own apartment. Eventually, my parents found a way, to settle down, and we finally got our first apartment, I'm gonna be honest, everything seemed so nice at first, and not gonna lie, obviously, yeah, because I was only like, 11, 12? I was just excited to have a new apartment, right? It looked very cool, and I was just excited to start a new life. In Germany, and, compared to how I was living back in Kazakhstan. But that's a different story. Anyway, I remember having nice memories, in my room, falling asleep. I would have this like lamp, that was like a disco lamp, and it was very beautiful. And I would play a little bit of my Nintendo DS that my parents gave me. I would animate on that. And like I would listen to my music and my daydreaming before falling asleep. Everything seemed so wonderful and so warm and comfortable until I got a little bit older and I saw all the weird that was happening in that apartment. It's just like there was like a shift in the atmosphere. I do believe maybe because I grew older and my mind was not just like as, how to explain this, like childish, like magical anymore. And the whole apartment felt like there was this like presence, as if somebody's like constantly watching you, like you never fully alone, and you just feel this like uneasy feeling. I tried to ignore it numerous times because I thought to myself, I'm just gonna ignore it, what else am I gonna do? And also that was the time when I got Asia, and I thought to myself, animal can see ghosts, right? So if she's ever gonna see something, she's gonna bark, right? However, at this point I feel like she just didn't give a okay? She didn't give that there was somebody in an apartment that she didn't know. And I remember even like it came to a point where I was scared to be by myself in this apartment, like, because there was like a few times maybe where I had to like stay in an apartment by myself, and I would always call my online friend, who I'm like friends with to this day. But I would like call him, and because I literally could not fall asleep by myself. I was too scared because I felt like I'm being watched all the time. And I told him that, that's why I called in the first place. And he did say eventually, like at some point, he's like, oh, I keep hearing voices in the background. And I was like you're joking, stop that, that I'm scared. And like the next day after, he told me that he literally like did hear voices. I don't know, maybe he was still like just like with me and joking, but I would not be surprised if that was the case, okay? And I think what's not helping, because eventually I found out that before we moved in this house, one of the neighbors died. And however, people only found out because it started to smell, and eventually there was this story before we moved in. And there's another story that while we were living there, our downstairs neighbor below us, it was a family, but their son, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but he himself, and unfortunately he died. May his soul rest in peace. It was very tragic as well. And when we go back to the perspective, about the haunted apartment, it did not help that I don't know exactly how to explain, but it was not nice. It was not nice. So yeah, pretty much the whole house altogether had a very bad energy, because I remember also going up to the attic, because I thought it kind of was cool. And even the attic had just like this like off-putting feeling, as if like I'm not supposed to be there, and I could never describe it, but it just simply felt off. Because I always loved just going to spaces, and looking around and like all different spots. But this was the one where I was like, I'm too scared to go like inside, and I'll rather just not. And I can also tell you that one of the things I regret to this day doing is when me and my friends, we had a sleepover at my apartment, on my birthday, and we really wanted to watch a movie. However, they really wanted to watch a horror film. I was not really a fan, but I thought, for the party, to have fun, let's do it, okay? What film did we choose? Conjuring. Regret it to this day. Didn't like it. I think I deleted from my memory because I don't remember what's happening in the movie, and I don't want to. But in that moment, after I watched the movie, I definitely got even more scared, because the presence started to feel even stronger than before, and again, spirits do feed off your energy, and in that sense as well, I started to feed into that energy by being scared and literally like acknowledging the presence, and just like, yeah, I was just super scared. I felt being watched, I felt scared, and I just like couldn't shake this feeling off, and it just literally, I felt like something could snatch me like any second, okay? So regret watching it. And again, I feel like because I started just to give more into this like bad energy, more things started to happen as well. And I remember this was the night that something completely unexplainable happened. To this day, I don't know how to explain it, honestly. And I think this was like one of my most paranormal encounters ever. And I do feel a little bit crazy telling you about this as well, because it sounds so cliche and so like, like, ooh, scary, I guess. Anyway, so every night before, like when I would go to sleep, I would always close my door, and my parents knew that they can't open that door, or they can't just leave it like half open, because if you don't close that door fully, let's say you just close it like a little bit, or just like not fully until the end, it's gonna start to slowly open up again, because I think the screws were not fully in or whatever it was, but the door could not stay in one place. It was either fully closed or just open, okay? And basically, yeah, every single time when somebody would not fully close the door, it would slowly start like opening up again. And then my wardrobe was right here, and it would like always bang, making a banging noise against my wardrobe, That's why I always closed the door or kept it open, because I really did not like the banging sound. It was, unnecessary noise. And, in this one night, I go to bed as usual, close my door. My parents also know, again, why I closed the door, and they never open it. My parents never go in my room at night. My parents never touch my room. They never, ever, ever did like that, anything like that, okay? And I remember having a dream, right? I remember having a dream where I was in my room. I had a dream I was sleeping in my room. So basically I dreamt how I was sleeping, not on my current bed, but on my previous bed, which was a sofa, right? And I remember lying on my sofa, looking at the door, and it was dark, literally night. And I remember how, I saw my door slowly open, and I literally was looking at my door as it was slowly opening up. And then while it opens up, I keep hearing a voice saying, "You're not welcome here," and just like how we should leave. I get a little bit teary-eyed when I think about this, not because like I'm sad, but it's just like it's spooky. And as the door opens and I hear the voice in my dream, the moment the door hits the wardrobe, I hear a banging noise and I wake up and I realize that my door is actually open during the night, like at 4 a.m. My door was literally open. I woke up because of the noise that my door made, banging against my wardrobe. To say that I'm still confused to this day is the bare minimum, because what was that? And, I woke up and I could remember the dream vividly, but I was too scared to move because I literally felt like I'm being watched right now in the moment. I felt like I was very vulnerable in that moment. I felt like anything could just like grab me, and like I didn't know what to do. However, while I was like after lying there for 10 minutes, just being like frozen up, I took my phone from under my pillow and I messaged my mom. I was like, Mom, did you open my door? Mom, did you open my door? Did you just do that? Did Dad open my door? And I kept telling her, can you please come into my room? Can you please come into my room right now? And I didn't want to call her because I didn't want to, basically, whatever was watching me, I did not want to give a sign that I'm awake, and I know what happened. So I was just like pretending to be asleep, I guess. That's why I was like all frozen up, because I was so scared. And my mom did not reply to me because she was deep asleep. My both parents, they were like deep asleep because they did not get up. They were sleeping through the whole night and they did not open my door. But my door was open, wide open. But yeah, eventually I think after an hour and a half, my mom woke up and she came into my room, and she did ask me what happened, why all the messages, and I explained it to her, and she told me herself that neither her or my dad, none of them, like, they did not open the door. It was not them. I literally, I'm holding my breath as I tell you this because I'm kind of reliving the moment as well right now. Like, I have it in front of my eyes. And I tell you not, I think this was the only time ever I was excited and happy to go to school, because I felt like I was about to die, and I just was happy to do something normal and usual, to be around other people and not to be in that room with that presence or whatever it was. Again, after that, I don't think I remember having any other encounters, and honestly, there's not much I could do about it because we still got to live there, we can't just simply move because of that. But luckily my parents were planning to. They just didn't find anything yet, and eventually we did move to another apartment. Nothing bad happened over there. However, I think maybe one time, there was a thing where I had sleep paralysis. If you want to, I can tell more about it next time, but I didn't feel anything bad about that apartment. It's nice. It was I could sleep, I could do things, and I didn't feel like I was being watched all of a sudden, And the moment I moved to my own apartment that I have right now, and I've been living there alone by myself for the past 5 years, not even one time did I feel like I'm being watched, or I felt like there's a presence, a bad presence watching me. And not once. I feel so comfortable in my apartment. I feel so nice. And I feel like if we do have spirits in this house and this apartment, they're not the bad ones. Because I never thought I could live by myself and not be scared all the time. That's why when I was younger, I told myself there's never, ever, ever am I gonna live by myself, because I cannot deal with this. I cannot deal with this constant haunting and everything like that. So I don't know how people do it. And that's why I also said that I never want to move into a house, because a house is even more bigger. So that means more rooms and bigger distance to other people. Because what if the ghost is gonna do something to me in the one room, and nobody's gonna hear me in another room, or my neighbors is not gonna hear me next door because it's a different house. And I felt this need to be close to people all the time, so that if something would happen, I would not be by myself. It's just crazy. So yeah, I think I didn't forget any details. There might be memories that I just simply forgot because like I kind of did not want to remember them because they were unpleasant. But this is just something that like stuck with me for forever because first of all, can't explain why it happened or how it happened. Doesn't make any sense. And I think I've never experienced such a fear in my whole life like in that moment. Yeah, there's supposed to be a third point, but I don't know what to say right now. However, guys, if you have any of your own paranormal stories, feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I can read some out loud next time, you know. I mean, if you want to, next video I can do is just like reading your stories that you had. I think that would be an interesting thing as well. But yeah, just let me know in the comments if something similar happened to you or something that you couldn't explain. It was like very spooky. And I hope I didn't sound too crazy as well because I'm sorry, it literally like it's in my memory here somewhere. It's a very big part of my memory and like I cannot explain it. However, thank you very much for watching until now. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell button. And take care of yourself and get yourself a little treat. Okay, bye bye.